Then never mind, you don't get 30 seconds. Sorry, call this meeting to order. CRA, Tuesday, October 15th. All right, are there any comments? Oh, everyone take note of the rules of civility and decorum, and are there any comments from the public?
No, Madam President.
Great. Commissioners, do you guys have any comments? No? Great. Oh.
Thank you so much. I'll mention this later in the City Commission, but I just wanted to remind everyone that on Friday, we will be having the ribbon cutting and opening for Hamburger Haven and at 3 o'clock. And I don't know, of course, we'll be mentioning that, but just in case, everyone who's listening, I hope you can attend. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, is there any additions, deletions, or reorganization?
So, Commissioner, out of an abundance of caution, we are just going to do a quick presentation. The DDA is here with us today on item 7.2. Just to be clear that we are going to approve that interlocal. So Tanika's got a few slides to just share with the board. So we're just going to move that to a regular presentation. Oh, and
You're moving it to presentation, or?
I'm sorry?
You're moving it to resolutions?
Resolutions,
Resolutions,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. And then I believe that was the only one because we removed yes, that's it.
Okay. All righty. So let's start with the presentation, Nights in Northwood Village recap.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Stephanie Swimmer. I am the Marketing Coordinator of the CRA, and I will be presenting Nights in Northwood Village, the recap presentation. So this presentation will cover the event background and goals, the event activities, as well as the marketing and advertisement strategies, survey results, CRA projects, event photos, and a quick event recap. Background information. So Nights in Northwood Village is a quarterly event that focuses on the merchants of Northwood Village. So our last Nights in Northwood Village was Friday, September 20th, located primarily on Northwood Road, and we did have road closures on the small sections of Spruce between 23rd and Northwood Road, as well as Northwood Road and 24th Street. So the event focus, every quarterly we try to have a different focus or a different theme of the event. In this case, the one that just passed, we did a celebration of National Hispanic Heritage Month. So the goal of the event, what is it? So Nights in Northwood Village is to help increase area awareness. It's to help public know where Northwood Village is and what it all encompasses. It also gives the CRA a platform in which we can discuss or disseminate information about the projects in the area, as well as the different incentives that the CRA has. It's a chance for the CRA to collect community feedback about either the projects or about the area in general, support economic development, help bring foot traffic to all of the merchants and as well as the restaurants. And like I said, it's to celebrate Northwood Village. And this time around, we did recognize the Hispanic merchants in Northwood Village. So the different activities in the event included primarily shopping and dining. We had a raffle, so every merchant had a button. It's actually in your little swag bags. Every participant or attendee of the event got a button whenever they purchased something. So when they came back to the CRA table, they would be joined in a raffle for a catamaran tour of West Palm Beach. So it was a huge incentive to either dine or shop at the different merchants. We also have visiting vendors, and in a hope that all the some of the visiting vendors would open a shop in Northwood Village. We had live entertainment. We had 3 bands. We had 2 soloists and Catabella, and they were all focusing on Latin genre of music. We also had 2 ribbon cuttings at the Painted Ox, and High Tide Kava Bar. So the different marketing and advertisement. We did have different types of marketing, both printed and digital. Our printed marketing incorporated flyers, rack cards, a banner, and window clings that the merchants can put on their windows. Our digital marketing, we had a Eventbrite website for participants to quote-unquote purchase tickets. This is a way for us to calculate or at least get an approximate number of attendees for the event. We also had an ad on the Discover Palm Beaches website. We had radio ads and an interview. We incorporated our event on newsletters such as the CRA, the Mayor's, and Commissioner Ward's. We put it on the West Palm Beach website. Nights in Northwood Village also had its own event page and on the Northwood Village page. And highlighted here is just the amount of tickets that, again, were quote-unquote sold. It was a free event, but again, this is just to get a generic number of people who were checking in or planning to check into the event. Because it's a free event, we also would like to highlight how many pages how many times the page was viewed, which was about over 2,400 times. So our social media, which is basically the meta ads that we had on both Facebook and Instagram. We also had a Facebook event page or a Facebook event. We also did a social media campaign in partnership with Visit Palm Beaches, and we also had our own social media campaign, which is Countdown to Nights in Northwood Village. So our ad here, highlighting that our ad had a reach of 22,000 people, and we had a 1,500 interaction with the ad. So 1,500 people were clicking on the ad. So this is just more of a breakdown of our social media. This is information pooling from our meta ads, the Facebook event, as well as our Countdown to Nights in Northwood Village. These charts are comparing the previous 50 days between August 1st and September 20th. So highlighting here, our reach increased to over 130% increase, and our interaction on our social media also increased 186.4% increase. Same thing, we saw an increase in our Instagram, just based off our social media. So we did conduct surveys during the Nights in Northwood Village. So our survey encompassed a generic demographic, as well as visitation, how often someone visits or what's preventing them from visiting. CRA familiarity, as well as community feedback on what kind of projects they would like to see, and the best form of communication. So our survey results we had 35 people participate in our survey. On average, we had 40 attendees that were about 40 to 49 years of age, and it encompassed in different areas of Florida. So as far north as Palm Beach Gardens, as far south as Delray, and as far west as Wellington. So a pretty good outreach. So visitation overview. So our visitation overview, again, this is to highlight people how often they visit Northwood, as well as what's preventing them from going to Northwood Village. So the first would be at the top would once a week or more, either they're residents of West Palm Beach or residents of the area, with once a month to first time being close second, and the third being once a quarter. So on average, it was residents in West Palm Beach, so once a week or more. But on average, the reason why people didn't go to Northwood Village is because they had a lack of familiarity with the area. So most of the first-time people didn't know about the area, or people who visited once a year or less also didn't know about the area. We also asked, how familiar are you with the CRA and what their goals and missions, as well as CRA projects? On average, people said they don't really know anything about the CRA, but they would like to know more. And it's the same thing with our Northwood Village projects. They don't really have any information, but they would like to learn more. Communication. So the effective form of communication with the people that we did surveys with was social media, being at 46%. Other is the next, or is rather the third, saying either by passing by or word of mouth. And so we did have 70 people start signing up for our newsletter. We have 59 new followers on our Facebook and 82 new Instagram followers, just based off this event. The CRA. So what did the CRA do with this event? So what we did is that we invited Affiliated Development and Corp Capital. They're the developers for the Spruce and for the district, to also give them a platform to give information about their projects and more information about their buildings. You also receive swag bags. So inside the swag bag is the CRA folder. It's our Making Waves folders. Inside is going to be our annual report, as well as documents just highlighting the different projects and the different things that we've done in all of our districts, and also a paper with all of our incentives. So it's just a really great way for people to get all the information all at once. A few of our event photos, and then a quick recap video. We also have a really quick recap video of our grand openings that we had. Apologies. Okay. All right, so our next Nights in Northwood Village, like I said, is a quarterly event. So the next one is going to be Friday, December 13th, for the holidays. And I am ready and available for questions.
Commissioners, any questions, comments? No? Well, thank you. I know we had a good discussion at the CRA meeting, so thank you.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the consent calendar. Items 7.1, just item 7.1. Can I get a motion on consent?
Move to approve consent calendar.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Thank you. So we'll move to resolutions and start with 7.2.
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commission.
My name is Tanika James Fayman. I'm the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority Executive Director. And as Rue mentioned earlier, in doing our due diligence and going into an interlocal agreement with the city and the CRA, we wanted to just kind of review some of the things that we have made adjustments in our new interlocal agreement. Just to go over really quickly and briefly our budget and ILA timeline, we actually began discussing our new ILA with the CRA back in April, and that was just to fine-tune some things that are currently in a previous agreement that I even included some stuff in regards to our trolleys and operations. In July, we actually did a budget presentation to you all. At that time, with our preliminary budget, we set our proposed millage rate, adopted our second mill budget, went back, refined, and came back to you all in September to do another budget presentation, adopted our final budget, and then here we are requesting support for their interlocal agreement with the city and the CRA, well, specifically the CRA. The DDA budget process, we've begun our new fiscal year. We've begun our audit process as well. We will begin to receive disbursements from the tax collector at the end of this year, beginning of January. Then we have that big check exchange with the CRA. We give the TIF, and then you all give it back to us to make up that second mill, which is the exemption in our interlocal agreement. And then we receive that reimbursement. Just to understand our fiscal relationship and our ILA agreement, so in 1967, the DDA was established as a special independent taxing district. 1985, the CRA was formed. In 1993, by referendum, we increased our millage to 2 mills. In 2007, with our current established agreement with the city and the CRA, we reduced our millage to the 1 mill. In 2022, we reduced our millage to 0.98, and then again in 2023. And then here, we're here to discuss our current requests for our new work plan as we move forward. Some of the elements in the agreement will be adoption of our work plan, which is also attached in your supplemental, which is our scope of work for the DDA as well as for the deliverables that we have in agreement with the CRA, refunding of the first mill, exemption of the second mill, and making up that value of the unlevied portion. There is also an opportunity for additional project funding, which is above a base of our first and our second mill. And then further terms that's in the ILA include exemption from paying special event fees, allocation for funding and outreach and safety services, which is our homeless outreach team through Jennifer Ferriel's team, as well as the additional overtime officers. And then also downtown mobility, which used to be our trolley operations, but we've moved that to on-demand services. This is the areas that we focus on in our work plan, which is district services and operations, public realm programs, business development, and marketing and public relations. District services covers our landscaping, our pressure washing, our downtown clean team, and then holiday lighting and beautification. The public realm programs include our placemaking programs, transportation and mobility, our downtown ambassador program, and our community outreach and safety. Our business development is solely focused on our incentives, which are our leasehold improvements that physically stay with the building. So that's our business incentive programs, our facade grants, and our grand openings. And then our marketing and public relations, which is our advertising, our marketing of the downtown district, and then also public relations. Just a reminder of what our revenue is at our 0.97 mil, what the TIF is, and our total interlocal agreement at 7 million, which gives with our carry forward funds, gives us a total budget of a little over $10 million. And then here are our expenses broken down by category according to our interlocal as well as our scope of work. And then our total expenditures, the majority of focusing on district services and public realm at 64%. And is there any questions?
Any questions? I neglected to read the resolution, so I'm going to do that right now, and then if you have comments. Thank you, appreciate your presentation. Resolution number 2459, approving an interlocal agreement among the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, the City of West Palm Beach, and the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority, establishing the work plan for fiscal years 2025 through 2029. And sorry, commissioners, any questions or comments before we move forward? Did you want to say something, Chris? No? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 24-59.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Rothenberg, am I voting like officially? Okay.
Everybody on the CRA board
Just
votes.
making sure. Just making sure. Okay. Resolution, or item 8.1, resolution number 2457, authorizing the chair to execute interlocal funding agreements between the City of West Palm Beach and the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, where such funding has been budgeted and appropriated.
So, Commissioner, I do want to take this brief opportunity to introduce the new Deputy Director for the Community Redevelopment Agency. So, as you know, Anna Maria Ponte is now back in Development Services, still with the city, but we have hired a new Deputy Director, Jade Green, who is with us today. And so I know all of you have, well, Commissioner Peduzzi, I don't think we've had a chance to do a one-on-one introduction, but we'll set that up. But just want to introduce her not only obviously to the board as a body, but also to the folks watching at home. So Jade, welcome, and she will be presenting this item tonight.
Hi, Commissioners. Thank you, Chris. For the record, I am Jade Green, the new Deputy Director for the Community Redevelopment Agency. I'm going to be presenting Resolution 2457, authorizing the chair to execute interlocal funding agreements between the City of West Palm and the Community Redevelopment Agency. All right, for the agenda, it's just going to be a quick overview, some background, a few examples of the benefits of this resolution, a conclusion, a recommendation, and any questions for the commissioners. Quick overview. Again, this interlocal agreement is going to authorize the mayor to execute interlocal funding agreements between the city and the CRA for already approved funding. The purpose of this interlocal agreement is to streamline processes for all projects funded by the CRA to create more administrative efficiency. Just the key players in this resolution, of course, are going to be the chair, the mayor, City Commission or CRA board, and the CRA, who supports redevelopment activities and removes blight from our city. The main goal, again, is to eliminate redundant approvals for projects that are pre-approved in the CRA budget. Quick background, the City Charter, Section 3.01, authorizes the chair to execute all agreements that come before the commission. The Interlocal Cooperation Act of 1969 encourages the collaboration between all interlocal government entities for mutual benefit. In addition to the CRA budget, there are many city projects and contracts that support specific goals under the CRA's redevelopment plan and strategic finance plans. The current process requires separate approvals by both the City Commission and the CRA board for the mayor to execute these interlocal agreements. So the challenge we identified was there's a duplicative process that can slow down project timelines and create a little bit of inefficiency. Some examples, currently the CRA has and is looking to implement more security cameras throughout our parks and different project sites, which involves the collaboration with the IT department for equipment and installation. There is a need for survey efforts to begin for our Play Art Connect project, where the city has multiple master contracts that could assist in using those surveyors. Another example is the lighting study being conducted in Pleasant City, where the city has a master engineering contract that could assist in that study as well. For all of these examples, funding is already approved in the CRA budget. These are time-sensitive projects that could potentially be hindered by the duplication of these administrative steps. And this delay is caused by having those two separate approvals by the City Commission and CRA board. Just a couple pictures. Those are our security cameras currently at Heart and Soul Park that we're looking to implement at other sites as well. And just a snapshot of our Pleasant City lighting study. All right, some benefits of implementing this resolution. Again, it eliminates a repetitive approval process. This can create a faster project delivery, ensuring timely execution of our project timelines, enhancing the collaboration between the city and CRA, and supporting the transparency and, of course, compliance, because we will still have interlocal agreements in place, but just fast-forwarding the execution process by our chair. Improved use of resources. What this resolution does not include, it does not grant new powers or authority to the mayor or CRA. It doesn't change or create new budget allocations, override the city charter or governance structures, change any project approval criteria or development goals, or impact unfunded projects. So in summary, this resolution supports eliminating duplicative requirements for all pre-approved funding by the CRA. Our hopes is that this creates a more timely and efficient project execution while maintaining transparency of the city charter and CRA goals. Staff recommends to approve Resolution 2457. I am open to any questions from the commissioners.
Thank you very much, and glad to have you with us.
Thank you,
Any
Commissioner
comments or
Warren.
questions? Commissioner Warren?
Thank you, Jade. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you.
My question, because I think that transparency is extremely important,
Absolutely.
and I think that we all agree. And where do we see that? Can you go back to your slide that shows where there's maybe duplication? Can you show us any examples of where there's duplication that occurs that can be a hindrance to the timeline of things moving forward efficiently?
I think go ahead. Did you want to talk, Chris? I was going to say the duplication is we already have these projects funded and approved within our CRA budget. So, for example, the lighting project, the engineering already has a master contract. If we kept the same process, we would have to adopt an interlocal agreement with our engineering department and come back to the board for that approval. This resolution is recommending going straight to the chair since it's already approved in our budget, instead of taking the month or so to come back to the board. We can implement the project faster because we already approved this project and the funding associated with it. The CRA just doesn't have necessarily a master contract with, say, an engineering firm as the engineering department may have.
Thank you, Jade.
No problem.
Commissioner Fox, did you have a question?
Thank you so much. My question was basically the same, but just to clarify, if there is a project that comes forward that is not something already in the budget, then we will keep the process that we already have in place, that you'll come forward to us. This will only be provided for those projects that we've already approved in the budget to make it more efficient. Otherwise, we'll just keep the same process going forward.
Correct, Commissioner Fox. Yes.
Great. And I also did want to say thank you and welcome to you, because it's been fantastic to have you on board the past few weeks. We've sat in several meetings together, and looking forward to more to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 24-57.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And item 8.2, resolution number 2458, authorizing an amendment to the Real Estate Development Incentive Agreement with Nora Holdings LLC regarding streetscape improvements for North Railroad Avenue to amend the disbursement schedule.
Good evening, Commissioner. Chris Rugg, Executive Director of the West Palm Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, and I'll be presenting this item from the dais tonight. We also have a special guest with us, Joe First from Place Projects, who's part of the NORA project. Since this does impact the NORA project, which really excited to report that they're making tremendous headway with that transformative project for the Brailsford NORA district. He'll be giving a firsthand presentation or a firsthand report on the status of the overall project. So very excited to present this to you tonight. So we're going to do a quick overview, just as kind of a recap. It's been a little bit since we talked about the project. The REDA agreement, which is a redevelopment agreement that is funding the North Railroad Avenue project. That's the streetscape that is currently underway. We do have a proposed amendment associated with the agreement to reflect the new and expedient timeline that the project is currently experiencing. Joe will be able to give you all a project status update, and then we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. So again, the whole goal that really Joe and the team at over at the NORA district has embarked on is really to create this new vision for the neighborhood and transform those 13 acres into just a vibrant part of the city that's mixed use, has affordable housing, and is again one of these great places that everybody can enjoy in the city of West Palm Beach. It is a true public-private partnership where we've all come together to really see this area get transformed in a really holistic way. It is nestled between Dixie Highway and the railroad tracks and south of Palm Beach Lakes, but it is north of the bridge, the northernmost bridge, the Flagler Bridge, that form the boundaries for the Nora district. We changed the regulations, if you recall, back in 2021, and that was something that was done by the city. So that really was kind of the kickoff to the overall project. And since then, we've really been working with the Nora folks to really to address specifically this street. So this is North Railroad Avenue that runs along a section of historic buildings and lots that is currently under construction. And then just on the other side of the tracks, you can see the CMEX plant, and then up in the top corner, top left-hand corner, you can see the Sunset Lounge. So it's right in the heart of everything that's been going on with the city of West Palm Beach and the CRA. So we first started this agreement back in 2021. It's been some time, but we brought this back for a change in 2023, mainly because of just the sheer financing costs. And rather than paying quite a bit in financing costs, we determined that it would just be better to do a grant setup based on specific benchmarks that were met by the Nora folks with each stage of the overall project. So including the street, as they renovated the commercial space, ultimately starting a hotel, and then finishing the overall scope of the project with a new residential building. So all of these things were built, were included in the overall agreement. And the CRA funds were basically to improve that streetscape and all of that infrastructure, which would have a public benefit for everybody that visits the area, because it is in a bona fide public realm. So you can see the existing conditions, which they don't look like that anymore. The conditions are currently a construction site, but that was prior to the construction starting, and then the ultimate vision, which is just really a great place for people to enjoy throughout North Railroad Avenue. A couple more details on just the actual work that's been going on, utility upgrades, and then of course the actual streetscape improvements, which includes all of those same principles, much of what you would find on Clematis Street. It's to create that sort of place where people want to stay and hang out. You can also find those sort of same elements and principles applied throughout City Place and our waterfront. So again, this is going to be another great place for people to enjoy in the city of West Palm Beach. And then the great part of that is that at the end of the day, Nora has, and the Nora folks have agreed to taking over the maintenance for the hardscape and the landscaping as we make these improvements. So again, going back to that really great public-private partnership to ensure that this place remains in top-notch condition, along with the investment that's going into it, both from the private side and public side. So the proposed amendment looks like this. The current language has it broken down into 5 separate payments, and we're currently at 2, but we've already paid out half of that second $5 million that's been dedicated for the 23-24 50% completion. So we paid out $2.5 million of that number 2. So what we want to do is, in the proposed schedule in the amendment, is to just kind of codify that we've already made that payment. And then talk about at 100% completion, paying that other 2.5. And then the big change is down there in red, where this year the team is over at NDT Development, and what Joe will talk about a little bit more here in a moment, is that this year, this fiscal year, is that the vertical construction for the planned hotel will commence. And in anticipation of this change and the efforts that NDT has made, we have, during the budget season, we have moved that $5 million over to be allocated. So this is the final step to actually be able to disperse those funds ahead of the timeline that was originally approved, which was going to be the following fiscal year. But since they have been moving ahead of schedule, we want to move it to this year. And that's just how it looks compared to the original schedule. You can see the 2025, 26 is when they anticipated to go vertical on the hotel, and that has been moved up by 1 year. So very exciting. So now I'd like to bring Joe up to talk a little more details about just everything that's been going on with the streetscape and the development project. And I think we also got a quick time-lapse video for you all to see too, to kind of show the work that's been happening. Joe?
Thank you very much. Thanks, Chris. Joe First, Place Projects, address at 1105 North Dixie Highway. So this is exciting because this is the first time I get to be here and talk about things that we've actually done as opposed to things that we think we're going to do. So that's an exciting way to start the conversation. And I just want to be very specific. This is not an ask for any additional dollars or funds. This is specific to just the timeline of events that's taking place. So first I'll show you a quick video. This is from about a month ago, but just so you have some perspective on what's going on the street if you've not been over there. All of the infrastructure improvements have been made below ground. You'll notice all the power lines are already gone. The difference between this video and additional slides you'll see next are the installation of power poles and the lighting elements for the district. So let me go back here. Okay. So this is what the street looks like now. So you can see, again, all utility poles down. Those are the lamps that were selected and have already been put in place. You can see the beginning of the sidewalk. So just to refresh everyone's recollection, those are 14-foot sidewalks, both on the east and the west side of the road. The piece of metal that you see in between the two slabs of concrete is a steel railroad tie. So as part of our design, given North Road Avenue and the history of the industrial buildings and the railroad to the west, we ran this railroad tie through the center of both sidewalks on the east and the west side of the road. All of the new stormwater has already been put in place. All the new water lines have already been put in place. And the reason why you don't see the street complete is that we're obviously continuing to work on all of the buildings that surround them and don't want to put the cobblestone down until the base building work is complete, which will be in about March, April of next year. These are just rendering views to remind you of what the finished product looks like. The landscape that's shown there is the landscape that we've permitted and that we've gone and sourced for the project. So we're very excited about that. We were able to find virtually all of the landscape materials that we had shown previously in the renderings and slides. And now to the hotel. So it's exciting for us. I mean, obviously, we're in a more challenging macroeconomic climate than we were when we started this project, but given the partnership and I think the commitment that we've made to the city, we were able to get this project financed. We actually have our loan closing this Thursday. We have our groundbreaking event, which will be November 14th at 10 a.m., which everyone will be invited to. We've not sent those out yet, but we've actually already commenced this project, and this is our 201-key hotel. This is where the restaurant Pastis is going on the ground floor, for those of you that read about that in various press releases. And we also have a food and beverage establishment on the roof of this building. This building fits within what we consider the NORA 5 zoning. And in terms of the design, maybe you'll find this of interest, we've always struggled, and I've personally always struggled with this idea of industrial chic new development. You know, you work with this existing character and existing fabric with warehouses, and when you try to build new construction, I think many of us get lost in trying to create something that looks like it was part of the industrial but is more modern in sort of shape and form. And we decided to go actually a completely different direction here. And we decided to really lean into the historic Palm Beach, Meisner-style architecture and design something that we think will be, almost feel as if it was built prior to everything that was around it, as if like this grand, hotel had been there and then all the rest of the district were designed around it. We're very excited about the way that it looks and feels. And here's just some rendering views of the interiors. That was the one slide. Rendering views of the interiors, but we're very excited about the finished product here, and we're excited to get it off the ground. And obviously, any questions that you have, happy to answer.
Thank you so much. I know we always hear about delays with construction, so the fact that you guys are ahead of schedule is exciting. Any questions or comments? Yeah, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Commissioner Warren.
I just wanted to say the same thing. Rarely do we have the situation where the issue is that people are finishing ahead of schedule. So kudos to you for that. And I do really appreciate the architecture and the way that you're looking at the structure of the buildings with the Meisner, the Brickers type of feel. I think that is very Palm Beach. And West Palm Beach is so worthy of top-notch
Thank you.
architecture design. Thank you.
All right, if there's no more comments, Chris, do you have any other?
I don't. My closing slide was pretty much just recommending approval of the resolution to change the agreement or to the proposed terms so that we can keep pace with the good work that the Nora folks are doing over there in the Brailsford area.
Awesome, great. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of Resolution 24-58.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is the end of our agenda, so we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. See you in 20 minutes.